Hello Internet, it is time for another POV enclosure upgrade video. So, we did another one on our African fat-tailed geckos, and we will come right down here. And this little one is in shed, which is why she's over here on this side of the enclosure, and I will tell you exactly why that is in just a second. And the other ones are over there. Let's see if we can get a better... Nope, doesn't look very good. There they are. They're actually kind of mad at me right now. There's really bright lights in here because of this, unfortunately. So sorry, guys. So we did another one in the past, like I said before, where it wasn't necessarily a larger area. It was still a 20-gallon tank. It was the one that they had been in since they were younger, sub-adults, and now they're kind of full-grown, and it was a little small, to be completely honest with you. It really was. But I added a whole lot of stuff for them to interact with them, gave them more hides, gave them some vertical room to move around in, because while they're not necessarily arboreal, they will climb up on stuff, which is why I have those little things over there. Hello, little cricket. This enclosure has been running for about 2 weeks now, so that's why it's not in absolutely pristine condition. But as you can see, it's still looking pretty good. Oh, there's some poop. Oh no, poop in a video. But anyway, so once again, the common theme with a lot of the enclosure things that I do, and I don't do every single one like this, but it makes it really easy to do with the arid species specifically. Sorry about that. So as we zoom back out, then you can see we have a large Exoterra. That's the 36 by 18 by 18, I believe, is the big one, but not super tall one. So again, we have this little divide right here of the desert play sand, clay, arid desert animal soil, and then over here topsoil, and then in that burrow, as you can kind of see back there, there's some sphagnum moss for it to keep nice and cool. I have FlexWatt running with a thermostat, obviously, on the bottom of this to keep it nice and warm for them. And then I have this light up here, acts as both basking and daylight. They don't have UVB, but they do have the 12-hour cycle in this room as well as just on the enclosure, period. Hey, look, you can see some Lego sets I got for Christmas that have just been sitting there for a year. But I digress. So as we can see, the fat tails, they don't necessarily come from the super arid dry climates that like leopard geckos do. They do come from Africa, in parts of Africa where it does get pretty dry, but they're more like plains reptiles where they stay underground under tree branches and pieces of wood and things like that, and then they come out at night to kind of cruise and look for insects and bugs. So they don't necessarily need to be as hot and dry as leopard geckos, but they're still advertised as arid desert species, which is why I'm using this, but clearly not for the whole enclosure. About, I don't know, not necessarily 2/3, but still a good chunk. So, and I'll explain, and so because of that, this topsoil and stuff, it eventually will pack down a little bit, more so over here. They do climb up here, which is why it has kind of fallen down off, and you can see the upturned hide right there. But I want to give them plenty of hides in both spaces because there are 3 of them in here, so they are cohabbing. I know, more scary things that I'm bringing up on video. I'm very sorry, but they've been cohabbing for a while. Even got eggs from them. None of them went, but we still produced eggs, so maybe we'll get some more this year. Who knows? But like I said, they will climb on stuff, so I gave them lots of things to climb on. So this is buried down a little bit for them to burrow under here, as well as climb up on top, and I have caught them up there. They can very easily get up on here. They can move over here. They can get over here. This is cork bark. This is a fake little plastic cave. Plenty of fake little decor because I think it's pretty, as well as this, because this is what happens when your partner is obsessed with fall and you go out and get an entire bucket full of enrichment and fake plants and things like that, and you end up having extras, so you just decorate this to make it look nice, because fall is life. It's not a choice. And then over here, we have this one that's buried. We have this one that is buried as well, and this very large water dish. I've never really seen them soak, but I do see them drink water while they're eating and while they're not eating. So they kind of get a cycle of different small dubias and roaches, and I'll have a little, and crickets, and I'll put a little dish of mealworms in here once a week, once every other week. I'll put just a dish of mealworms here, and they'll come in and cruise and feast upon. But they will just kind of take over this. They do utilize this whole area. I wanted to show previously in the last one at night, for the most part, they hung out over on the cooler side. Again, this is the smaller enclosure that they were in. So during the day, they were over here. Apologies. During the day, they were always either out and about here or under the multiple hides on the cooler side, usually under their water dish that was smaller. And then they would come over here at night and they would just cruise the whole area. And that's usually when I could see. But using an iPhone as my main camera, it's really hard to shoot night videos. But that was something I really kind of wanted to see, and to see if that would reflect in the behavior as well once I gave them this. And basically what I saw is similar-ish. They don't always spend time over here. A lot of time they're over there. It's usually the boy and the girl, the two non-striped ones are usually over there, under there for most of the day, and then usually the striped one, as you can see here, hello little one, is usually over here. He's over here right now for sure because he's in shed. And I know I have a really weird ratio of 2 males and 1 female, and I know that everyone will give me a lot of crap for that, and I just keep saying all the wrong things in this video, but they've been living together for 2 years now, and with absolutely no issues whatsoever, even got eggs. But anyway, I digress. Apologies. But at night, they would cruise this whole area again. They utilize pretty much all of it. I will see them all up here together. I will see them cruising this over. I've seen one prop up on this little rock here that's mostly for crickets that get into here that can swim over so they don't drown. And, well, I do change the water a lot more often than I would like to have to. It does help with that a little bit, as well as a bunch of little rocks and stuff that they will sit there and climb and utilize it all. They've knocked this plant over multiple times, and I don't really know what to do about that, but that's okay because I can move it around and such. But just wanted to show a little, you know, upgraded enclosure thing for our African fat-tailed geckos. Eventually, it would be really cool to make like an entire plains thing with not just this, but I really like to see them kind of choose what they want to do and see where they're spending their time and then kind of adjust from there. So hopefully this gave anyone ideas about what they want to do, not necessarily for their gecko, but for whatever it is, for their bearded dragon, for their garter snake even. I mean, they can give them that, giving them choice and different things that you can change up fairly easily and often. I mean, not every day, but still fairly often is something that I think a lot of people are moving towards and is really cool to see, because once you have a reptile for a long period of time, if they're not necessarily the most handleable reptiles in the world, it's really cool to observe their behavior and seeing what they're doing and things you can interact with. And so doing these enclosure type things is kind of a whole new source of fun and enjoyment with your animals. So I get a really big kick out of this. That's why I do so many of these enclosure upgrade videos or changes or whatever it is you want to call it. So hopefully you enjoyed this video. Hopefully gave you some ideas in the future. Sorry to repeat myself. I really need to work on that. If you have any questions, comments, criticisms, concerns, email me, jzreptiles@gmail.com. Comments, as always, as long as you know they're not hurtful for no reason, are always welcome down below. I do my best to try to answer any of those questions that you do have. Facebook, Instagram, you can find me, Jay's Reptiles, as usual. Be sure to check out the podcast. Oh, hey, look at that. Keep Calm, It's Just a Snake podcast on YouTube, because we do post the video, as well as on Spotify, on Apple Podcasts, hopefully maybe listed on Google, as well as some other things. Hey, little one. Check us out on blah, 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 blah. Check out our Patreon. We do have merch, as well as some new designs coming out soon. Still a couple available ball pythons, as well as the breeding season is cruising right along right now. So hopefully we'll have some really, really cool baby snakes coming up in the near future. So once again, hope you enjoyed this video, and we'll check you next time.